Hello all, this is Nick from quitwithnick.com.au and nickterone.com. Now, one of the things obviously I've been doing for a long time is hypnotherapy and hypnosis. Now, one of the most common things I come across when I share with people what I do, one of the most common questions they ask is, can I be hypnotized? Or can everyone be hypnotized? Some people doubt whether they can be, and often people will doubt this because they'll say, oh, I have a strong mind, I'm not susceptible to that stuff, and etc. Now, what they're assuming is that the only people that can be hypnotized are those who are weak-minded, those who are sort of not on the ball, not very sharp, not the sharpest tool in the shed, and they see people acting silly on stage, and then, oh, I wouldn't do that. Oh, that's not me, so I can't be hypnotized, But, well, let me share a bit of a bombshell, and that is that unless you're autistic, have a low IQ, an intellectual disability, brain damage, or you don't understand the language, guess what? You can be hypnotized. And like the title of this post, up until now, today it's about 11:30 in the morning, you've probably already been hypnotized at least 3 times by now because it happens many times in the day. Shock horror, And the reason why it happens is because being in a state of hypnotic trance is a very normal, natural state. And it happens literally every time you are gazed at something, your eyes are fixated on something, and you're in a relaxed place. Hence, it happens when you're reading, when you're watching TV, when you're driving, or even when you're just zoning out, maybe listening to the radio or something. These are all examples where your attention is on something and you're kind of focused on something in such a way that your brainwaves change, your brainwave patterns change from beta, the hyper-aware state, to alpha, which is the relaxed, mellow kind of state, the alpha brainwave state. Anytime your focus is in that kind of state and your brainwaves are in that state, guess what? Your unconscious mind is open to suggestion. So, I find it kind of funny when people will kind of have a bit of a fearful approach or idea of what happens in a therapy room. Oh, I wouldn't go there. He's going to play with my mind. When really, the kind of hypnosis that you really need to be careful of is the one that's happening out there to you every single moment of the day when you're reading, watching TV, zoned out to the radio. And guess what? Advertisers use that to their advantage to sell you stuff you don't need. They're basically programming you often in the day. What happens here in 4 walls in a therapy room is a deprogramming. It's not programming at all. It's not voodoo mind control. It's basically a process whereby we get rid of all the crap and the programming that you've absorbed from the moment you were born that doesn't serve you, whether that's smoking, overeating, relationship issues, or any issue you may be, any challenge you may be faced is only there because there's some programming that you've picked up somewhere along your journey, whether it's parents, media, school, siblings, certain emotional interactions you may have had when you were young. These were all moments of programming. And what hypnotherapy does is it deprograms that so your real true nature and self can emerge. It's not a programming at all. I'm not doing nothing to anyone except guiding their attention so they can deprogram themselves. Very, very important distinction to make. So these are the things that I find a little interesting, because when you think about it, all of those moments of day-to-day hypnotic trance, driving, watching TV, reading, listening to a monotone sort of sound, like if you're listening to radio, these are moments where advertisers are taking advantage of. When you're watching TV, you're watching a show, the ads are related to what you're watching because you're in a suggestibility state. So if you're watching MasterChef, pots and pans and things to do with kitchen and cooking are the ads because you're being programmed and suggested to. And when you're driving down the freeway and those billboards are on the bridges you pass, the sides, your eyes don't have to look at them because your unconscious mind is taking in everything when you're in that state. So guess what you're being programmed with? All of those billboards. When you're reading the newspaper in the morning, which you may have done this morning, you're reading the article, and all around the article are ads. Your eyes don't have to go there, but it's being absorbed. So you're being programmed, and then later on in the day, when you're having lunch there, you may go, oh, actually, I feel like having this. And you won't even know it, but it was suggested to you a few hours earlier that morning when you were reading an ad, and there might have been something, reading an article rather, and there might have been an ad on the side that just planted a seed of suggestion. It's kind of similar to the ideas that are played around with in Inception. If you know that movie Inception, if you've seen it, very cool movie, have a look. It's all about just planting a little seed in a particular way that then sort of blossoms and germinates in something to help to make it seem as if you've made a conscious choice. But guess what? Here's another bombshell. 99% of the decisions you make are all unconscious. Even though you think you're consciously deciding, most of them are unconscious choices. And they've come from you wouldn't know where. The seed would have been planted, who knows where. It could have been when you were 2. It could have been last week. It could have been a few hours ago. Depends on the choice you're making in the moment. But typically we're mostly making choices unconsciously, but we think we're making them consciously. So just some food for thought to really sort of deprogram you about any misconceptions you may have about hypnotherapy. Anyway, so feel free to like, share, tag if there's anyone you think that could benefit from this information. And I can be reached at my Facebook page, Quit with Nick, or my other public page, Nick Tyrone. To your health, take care, have a good day. Bye-bye.